Recording. Okay, so for the purpose of recording, so there is a beginning to that. So I was asking this question, why we endeavor ourselves in doing PhD, and so we kind of finding this ways of thinking of differently. So as I was saying, it's about developing intellectual curiosity, finding ways to understand things that itch our brains. The whole process is designed to introspect. That means dive deeply and to dive really deep into the questions that oftentimes they bother us. These are intellectual questions that we get intrigued by, and we want to find out an answer. So a PhD program gives us that opportunity to be disciplined about it and kind of go after it. So what we do in PhD studies, we investigate and develop our own techniques and approaches to answer these questions. I would like to emphasize that we are not looking for solutions, but we are looking for understanding. Because solutions, each one find in their own given context. So we cannot find universal solutions, but we can find relatively universal understanding of certain phenomena. So I would like to quote Sid Hazra. He's a research and development principal at a startup. And I think he said it best. What is PhD and why do we do it? PhD is about exploring, getting lost, not knowing anything, being scared, getting help, not listening, trying everything, failing, still trying, learning a few things, getting small wins, trying harder, this time wiser, more minor successes, fewer failures, putting them all together to tell a story that does not have an ending, and make a decision to leave the unfinished parts for people that will come after us. And when we finish, you realize that this was just a practice. Kind of it very nicely, this whole thing. So now a few things I want to highlight, about, and let me share. Okay, before I share with you the plan, looks like started. So now, why? What has happened at St. John's? Why now? And why this particular degree that we are moving along, going? So, addressing an urgent knowledge gap with development of recent developments of the last 20 some years. We have seen how technology has upended a lot of our usual ways of understanding and doing things. So there is a knowledge gap, and we expect that all of you in your research, in your findings, somehow will fill that gap in some form or the other. And there is a new human capital needs for organizations. There's an opportunity for St. John's University to be a front runner of cross-sector interactions. And if we can gloat a little bit about it, this is the only program in multi-sector communication, doctoral level, probably in the entire world. Because I've done extensive research when we were preparing this. The only place where there is something similar, there is a master's degree is happening here. There is a master's degree in multi-sector at the university in Singapore. Now, what are we going to do here? What is the content of this degree? Definitely, by definition, it's a multi-sector communication. How do I? Okay. Cutting edge research focus. I'm not going to go into lines about that. And then one of the things you'll find, interestingly, is that we borrowed this idea from Oxford University, and particularly from London School of Economics, which is a flexible structure, but yet it's robust. So it kind of gives us a little bit of flexibility to kind of move along with that. Now, this particular picture gives you what is it all about in a nutshell. So right in the middle, you have communication, and then you have all the sectors, communal sector, non-communal sector, corporate sector, and in between, what is happening. And so the communication is the hub around which everything happens, because without communication, nothing moves forward. So all hinges upon that. And one of the things you would like to know, and which I would want you to impress upon you, please get to know your professors very early, because you need professors who will be working with for your dissertation, and that stage is very important, and I'll talk a little bit more about it. And so so this kind of gives you what you see there in the expertise that the faculty bring. And then if you have some other area that you're interested and somehow it is not listed there, we can definitely find faculty within the university, not only within the College of Professional Studies, but also within the university who would have that expertise that you're looking for. Now, what can you do with this degree? I think so. There's a big question, that you are engaging yourself into this a commitment for at least for 3-4 years. So these are kind of a listed. This is what the market shows, where this degree will take you. And of course, there is opportunity for academia as well. But you'll find more opportunities now than ever before in the business sector, the corporate sector, in the non-corporate, non-governmental sector. In all areas, you'll find that opportunity there. Now, briefly to kind of give an idea what this program, how it is mapped. This is a program map, and it is 36 degrees post-master's degree after you bring a postmaster's. And so with the 12 credits in the area of specialization. So once you declare the area of specialization, so foundational courses will be 18 credits, and 6 credits will be part of your dissertation. So dissertation will be also the equivalent of 6 credits. Now, when you do your dissertation, it's not necessarily to be finished in 2 semesters, or it takes time. Dissertation will take you sometimes 1 year, maybe 2 years, depending on what you're working and how your work progresses. So now, besides this work, you have certain required activities. Required activities which are not for credit, but they're required as part of the doctoral way of thinking, PhD way of thinking. You'll have monthly research colloquium. It will be directed this year by Professor Dr. Candice Roberts, and so at least once a month, where, as I pointed out here, it's unique pedagogy, where they'll be focusing more on the applied epistemology. And then this monthly research dialogues is a place to nurture and challenge. It's a place to encourage you to think in a much more sophisticated way, challenge you there, but at the same time to nurture you, not to simply expose you and say, oh, how terrible you are, or how that kind of thing, but at the same time walk with you in the process. So it is a learning experience, okay? So nobody should feel uncomfortable. So going back here, we have, so these are required things. Then of course, by the time you finish, you qualify all the required credits. You do qualifying exam, and then your proposal defense. So you would write a proposal, and then you have to defend the proposal, why you're doing what you're doing and how you're doing it. And of course, there are optional activities if you choose to, internships, teaching, grant practicum, grants, and whichever opportunities you have. So let me this away so that we see each other. Okay, so I think at this point we are almost all of us are here. I don't see Garfield. Okay. So let me just call everybody's name. At least you can become familiar who is here, who is not here. I did not do that in the beginning because they were still coming in. So this is Lava. How are you?
Hi, good. How are you?
Okay. And then Garfield, I don't see him here. Are you here, Garfield? Okay. Gohar, where are you joining us today from? I can't hear you. You are muted. Oh. All right. Okay. So I'll tell very. She's still in Armenia, I think, right? So, and she should be here tomorrow, the after tomorrow, I think. Amy Maron, she lives on campus. She's next door. She can just jump over and come on. She's in athletic department. She works there. Andrew White, he lives in the neighborhood. Where are you, Andrew?
Right here. Hello.
Okay. All right. You hear voices. And okay, now I see here because I closed something. Tara, over the WhatsApp. There she is. It's wonderful to see you. And I don't see Diana Flores. Is Diana Flores here? Arturo, there he is.
Hello, everyone.
So wonderful to see.
Good to see all of you.
Yeah. And Farah what?
Hi.
There she is. And also, I understand she's our neighbor as well. She's not too far from the campus. It's wonderful. So Victoria O'Keeffe, she is the university.
Yeah.
She is the university herself. So Victoria O'Keeffe. So and
I'm at the university.
and here we have Shweta. Where are you, Shweta? There she is. And in fact, she was the first one to come into the program. And when I was sending this email, I almost missed her name. Not I did miss her name. So much so that I had to call her 5 minutes ago and tell her, say, listen, join us. And she was gracious enough to say, okay, I'll join. And I know
I'm in Virginia picking out a wedding venue for my wedding next month.
Oh,
she's getting
good.
married next month. Oh,
Thank
wonderful.
you. So there's if the internet breaks or something, I'll stop my video because the internet here is a little sketchy.
Oh, okay. So thank you for last minute adjusting your
No problem. My pleasure.
So now, having kind of given you the map, I want to highlight a few things because I don't want to spend unnecessary time. Just want to finish it within 1 hour. By 8 o'clock, we all have to go to bed. So a couple of things I want to highlight is this. Get to know your professors right from the beginning. My colleague Elizabeth Fondren is here. Mark Jusak is here. Tiffany Moore is not here. But and if you go on the website, you'll find the list of the professors there and then their expertise. So, and get to know them. You may not meet them in the classroom. They may not be teaching actually classes, but they are part of the team, okay, a broader team. And start thinking right now, what is it that you want to work on? What is itching in your brain in terms of finding an answer, looking for a question? What question is bothering you intellectually that you are really curious about? And get to talk to your professors, just engage into these conversations, do an intellectual banter. That's the best way for the back and forth, doing intellectual banter. Just do this banter. And not because you have some definitive ideas, but because you're just thinking aloud. And that is very important process for you to finally, it will take you time, believe me, to finally decide what you want to work. It's not going to be 1 week or 2 months, probably will take 6 months or 1 year for you to kind of settle down. And my colleagues who have done their PhDs, they will tell you, they'll corroborate what I've said. This is my own experience as well. And when I wrote my proposal, my mentor said to me, I was lucky to have a wonderful mentor. She said, wait a minute now, to do this proposal will take you 10 years. This is not your lifetime project. She says, this is just a project, so beginning project, so you can move on, get your PhD, and then afterwards you do your lifetime project. So the projects you're going to work on, don't be idealistic or utopian, be practical. Be given amount of time, because as you know, I don't have to say that, it costs money. So you don't want to spend an extra semester paying. That's what I was driven, because I didn't have money. I was living hand to mouth. And my motivation was, I don't have money. I have to finish this fast. So that's what drove me. So I said, okay, so you kind of work till 2 o'clock in the morning, put in 4 hours of sleep, but still you guys are young and you can pull it through. So again, I reiterate, please get to know your professor. Let me say one thing. One of the most important things in this process of PhD will be who your thesis advisor is. Elizabeth, Mark, tell me if I'm wrong. The important thing is who your advisor is, because your advisor can make or break your life. So be careful who you choose. I would like to highlight a couple of things you want to see in your advisor. Number one, of course, you want to see and have an advisor who is knowledgeable. Now you've always noticed that I did not use the word expertise, because experts tend to be very tyrannical, the tyranny of experts. So I said knowledgeable, people who are they are, when we become experts, we leave behind what I call intellectual humility. When you are knowledgeable, you still go through this intellectual humility. This is the pathway, because somehow it leaves the door open. I don't know everything. Still have to know. And I learn continuously from my students all the time. So what I would suggest is to pay attention to, are they available? Number one, they can be very knowledgeable, they can be experts, but they are all over the world. They're giving conferences there, and consulting work here and everywhere, and they're not available. And they'll say, yes, I'll work with you. I have had students doctoral students who had to hang on there for another year long, sometimes 2 years long. Finally, in 2 occasions, I advised them, please change your mentor, because this is madness. Because yes, he's an expert, because his name is recognized everywhere, but we're not moving forward. So please get to know that these people are available, accessible, and not only available, but they make themselves available. That is the important thing. One thing is being available. Other thing, do I make myself available? Those are kind of things that you really want to pay attention to. And so I would say and also someone who gives you useful, practical guidance. One thing is to go after great ideas, but at the same time, by going through the great ideas, are they doable? Because keep in mind, it is a time bound. You don't want to spend 10 years here. You simply want to do as a full time. You can do in 3 years, maybe maximum 4 years, but you don't want to be unnecessarily wasting your money and time while you can do many other things. Now, I would suggest you one thing. Please don't get through. Okay, let me get through this. Somehow get by with this. It's going to be self-defeating attitude. I've seen. Oh, let me get through it, and then afterwards I have PhD, and then after. Usually, that kind of attitude professionally is not being very helpful, because what happens is it really does not help you to contribute to the knowledge, to the universe of the knowledge. So it's become noticeable. So don't be committed. I know you have life to live, you have things to do, you have to earn your livelihood and everything else. We all have jobs that you're doing as well, but still have that mindset where you can dedicate yourselves for that kind of thinking. So I would say for the next couple of years, you'll be living in a bubble. You will feel stressed. You'll feel like quitting many times. You'll say, I forget about this. And there will be moments of exasperation. There will be moments of exasperation. Be ready for it. I don't think there will be anyone who will finish PhD without having a moment of exasperation. Am I right, Dr. Fondren? Huh? So you go through this moment of exasperation and you say, you feel like the faculty or the mentor is not cooperating, is not being helpful. I say, do not give up. Do not give up. Hang in there, do what must be done, and you will find that experience very, very helpful. Now, what we are going to do next semester, there will be a course for you, and we're intentionally keeping the course open-ended because things are changing constantly. As I said, there is a knowledge evolution, and we want to be on the cutting edge all the time. And one of the courses we're going to have is next semester is multi-sector analysis. And I'm going to ask my colleague Mark to talk about it. And I'm going to share with you screen some of the topics that. Okay, so this will be the, so Mark, go ahead, take over. This is the required course for everyone. And there will be next semester where you'll be, all of you will be in the same class and you'll get to know each other a little more personally. Huh? Oh, go ahead. Let's hear you.
Hear me now or no?
Okay, now we hear you.
Now, okay, so there's a problem with my mic. Sorry about that. Okay, can you hear me well?
Yes.
Okay, so I will try to be as loud as possible and as clear as possible. If someone doesn't hear me, please stop me and say, I don't hear you or I don't understand you. Please let me know. So Professor Montero and I were talking about the PhD program, and we felt that it was essential to have in the program a course that was focused on the unique nature of multi-sector research inquiry. And that is a cornerstone of the PhD program itself. And we put together what you might see initially as a very daunting syllabus. Please do not be scared by it. Our intention is not to scare you. Rather, it's to expose you to a set of tools in systems analysis, in multi-sector analysis, and in the different frameworks that are currently being used to address the fundamental problem of how we analyze things that are intersectional and that come in from different disciplines. So there is a whole series of different models, theories, and approaches. Our intention is to make you an expert in these methods, because it is these methods that are foundational to you having both a good PhD thesis, but also being able to take the lessons from the PhD out into the world. So the choices that we made are very deliberate. They come from a survey of intersectional multidisciplinary doctoral programs in the United States that touch on similar areas, but the multi-sector media and communications doctorate is quite unique. And that's partially why we have developed the framework that we have. So to give you one example that is probably the closest analog, but is not uniquely focused on communication, the University of Chicago offers a PhD program in what are called big problems. So the model prior was principally a focus on a discipline. You got a doctorate in economics, you got a doctorate in sociology, you got a doctorate in anthropology, you got a doctorate in cognitive behavioral psychology. U Chicago followed in the footsteps actually of Washington St. Louis University, which for many years has had a really, really good internal center focused on the study of interdisciplinarity as a unique discipline unto itself. And U Chicago's Big Problems PhD was one of the first in the country to look at the question of what if the PhD is not focused on a traditional academic discipline, but it's focused on understanding and solving problems in the dynamics and processes that intersect within a certain range. It was a fundamentally different idea of what the PhD is. And Professor Montero's original insight many years ago, I remember talking to him about this program 5 years ago, was very similar. He understood that there was a need in the market to have experts who could analyze the role of media and communication across multiple disciplines. And that doing so was not about being an expert in each field. It was about taking a consistent set of research tools and applying them to problems across fields. And that has been the perspective that we've taken in this. So if you look at some of the titles that are part of the course next semester, Things like intersectionality are normally taught, for example, in gender studies. They are normally taught in other disciplines, in sociology, and we have taken some of those elements in terms of research methods and brought them into our program. We've also gone beyond traditional social theory and, for example, embraced systems analysis, which is a very, very strong discipline in business and economics and logistics, but has very, very strong cross correlates into understanding media in the context of what I would say at this point, in much the same way that President Eisenhower identified correctly in the 50s, that there is a emergent military-industrial complex, right? This is a famous phrase from Eisenhower's farewell address given in 1960, right? So in much the same way, there is today a geopolitical media economic complex. There is an incredibly complex, intersectional, right, and intersecting set of operators that are international, that have broad reach internationally, and those actors behave in fairly unique ways. And part of the challenge we face in multi-sector analysis is understanding how to narrow all that down into a functional research space. So I'm really excited about this. We're going to have a great time. Some of the major theoretical models we'll look at are systems analysis, intersectionality, systems theory, network theory. We're going to look at what's called theories of emergence, swarm behavior, chaos theory, contingency theory, and we're looking at what's called like the Anthropocene and its derivatives in this geopolitical complex. So yeah, I'm very excited. If you have any questions on what you're looking at, please ask me now. I hope I haven't spoken too much, Basilio.
No.
Is that Nassim Taleb's Black Swan effect?
Yes, that is. That is correct. Yes. Although not, Taleb has written primarily about analysis of stock markets, his fundamental modeling of chaos theory, I think, is quite interesting because it has derivatives in how we analyze behavior of media actors. And you can ask questions. So, for example, are you familiar with the Iowa decision market? So the Iowa decision market is kind of a stock market for political events, and you can place bets on who's going to win the presidency, for example. So the Iowa decision market is a great example of it's a complex operator. It's both a media company, but it's also a research company, and it's also like, you know, it has some attributes, for example, of a stock market, but not really. So in Taleb's theories, both in Black Swan and his other works, I see very, very interesting correlates in how he tries to model randomness and chaos.
Correct.
How he tries to model sort of like 100-year, you know, effects that occur. And I think that we can use the same dynamics in a derivative form in global media complexes. So it's going to be very exciting, actually.
I don't mean to speak out of turn, but
Please,
I've
no.
this
Speak.
yesterday's was like the fourth time that I'm taking research, because I've actually done like a whole research and dissertation and like a thesis when I did genetic medicine. But yesterday's class with you was one of the most fun classes in research that I've ever
Oh
had.
no.
So,
This is only because there was that question, I think, about oxygen and plutonium. This is what I understood.
No. I'm telling you, I've done the class 4 times in 4 different courses, and I had the most fun yesterday. So
I'm
thank
happy to hear that. That's excellent. That's really good. I'm happy to hear that. That's awesome. So, any other questions? Sorry, Bisley, I don't want to interrupt you.
No, go ahead.
Yeah.
I would like to ask Professor Fondren, would you like to share your wisdom from your own experience?
Yeah, sure. So good evening, everyone. So exciting to meet you. And welcome to the program. I think Dr. Montero and Dr. Zuzak are correct. Everybody's so excited for you to join us on this great endeavor. One thing that Dr. Montero said really resonates with me when he said that your path, or really your journey, is one where you try to find or to seek understanding and add context to the scholarly debate. You're not tasked with finding solutions or engineering a certain tool. So that I think really resonates with my own PhD experience. I got my PhD in Media and Public Affairs, which is yeah, an interdisciplinary program between mass communication and political science. I received my degree 3 years ago, and I've been working at St. John's 2 years. This is now my 3rd year. And most of my research looks at international journalism, propaganda in a historical context, First Amendment theories, and then military media relations. I teach in the St. John's journalism program, but I would be happy to work with any of you on dissertation research or serving on committees if you're looking for yeah, somebody who can provide an international perspective on yeah, international journalism, global media, war reporting, any topics that you might think warrant a historical analysis. I can be very helpful for that. And then I think further down the road, maybe in your 2nd year or 3rd year, we can talk about, you know, maybe you want to work on some research projects with me, maybe you want to co-author an article. I think that what Dr. Montero said in the beginning is so true. Having a very realistic understanding of how challenging a PhD can be, and that while it's a really, you know, interesting time, it's a fun time, it's a time where you produce knowledge, but it's also a time where you grow as an individual. And then really the 3rd dimension is that there are certain, I guess, expectations of the job market. And one of them is if you're trying to, yeah, follow the academic route, that it would be very smart and strategic to have at least one publication underway. And as I said, I'm happy to work with you once you get started. And I think my email address is in the roster of faculty, so feel free to contact me. For now, I don't teach a class with you, but I'm always happy to advise and work with you. So good luck and have a very good 1st semester.
Hey, thank you very much, Elizabeth. Before I open up for questions and all, I just want to say, please make appointment to see me. Whether you like it or not, I unfortunately have no choice. You have to look at my face, because we have to work over your program map. I want to sit down with you, review your transcripts, and there is opportunity to transfer. I know some of you have MBAs, you have two master's degrees, and so there are a lot of things. So we want to see what we can utilize to what extent, and that way, you know, as I said to you, I really want to give credit for whatever you bring to. So it'll be nice if you make some time to sit down, and we'll go with your transcript and see where your expertise lies and how you can build on what you already have some expertise. And so so we have to have a conversation, okay? And then I mean, I will occasionally ask my other colleagues to sit down with you as well and go over and kind of get better understanding. So we have to have this meeting one-on-one to see, you know, how to organize, how to map your program. And I want to map it right from the beginning, very early. I know, Victoria, your interest from your theology background, we have an area of religion and multisector communication. Okay, that is a specialty there. Dr. Craig Barron, that is his area of specialization. Yeah. Okay. So now I would like to open up for questions, comments, clarifications, whatever you have on your mind, please. Anyone? No? Everything's clear? This is Lava?
Okay, I have one question. So Elizabeth, you mentioned when you were talking about the program that it is good down the line to also have some publications. So I was just wondering whether this PhD program has a requirement for having down by the line any publications, whether you should be the author of them. I've worked on one with while I was doing my master's degree with two of my co-directors on a program, but that's co-authored. So I was just wondering if that's part of it and how many.
Yes, you're absolutely right. If you go on the website, you'll see the details of that. There is an expectation because this monthly research colloquium they will be doing. There's an expectation at least while you're in the program, at least you'll do 2 presentations at conferences about some papers you present. And my colleague Tom Kitts will be guiding that. Professor Tom Kitts, he will be guiding that particular activity. Yes, definitely. So we want to encourage your, I mean, Shweta, for example, she took a class with me over the summer, and we are working on publishing her paper. At this point, we're doing some editing and getting that. So whenever, at least I try to do, whenever I find some very good paper that you write, I encourage you to get it published. And we have opportunities, I mean, that we can get them published. And so you can understand that you have to get into that world anyway. So, and so, we want to make your exercises, your papers, for research papers you're working on, your classes, they themselves can become sources of your special presentations and publications as well. So thank you for asking that. By the way, Desislava comes to us. We have a couple of international students here. Desislava comes from
Bulgaria. I'm
Bulgaria.
originally from Bulgaria, yes. I moved to New York about in 2019 to do my master's. I did my master's at Fordham in strategic communications. I've been living in New York since. But yeah, I'm originally from Bulgaria.
And Shweta comes from India. And so I guess we are all invited for your wedding, Shweta?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I'll be happy to see all of you. This
And,
is my new adopted family now.
So, Farah, tell us a little bit about yourself. Unmute yourself. Unmute.
Did you say Tara or Farah?
After that, I'm coming to Tara.
Sorry, say that again.
Wait, did you say Farah or Tara?
Farah.
Farah?
Sorry.
Okay. I'm willing to change my name to make this easier. Like, I have no problem being called another name. Okay. I went to St. John's for my undergrad, and then I got my master's in liberal studies, and then I went to Capella. It's like an online university, almost like Dubai or Phoenix. I'm sure you've seen the commercials and such. There I did public administration. And then I'm here. I'm literally right next to Henley off-campus housing, but I lived in the actual like apartment building, at like the dorms. And I actually did live in the dorms, but yeah. And yeah.
She can't get away from St. John's University.
No,
so.
I cannot get away. I still use the track and everything. I mean, I'm still like,
Okay, Tara de Worship. Her roots are in India, but she's very New York woman. Tara?
My family's from India. I was born in Brooklyn. I grew up in Jersey, back and forth. And actually, funny story, which I know that some of you know that my father actually went to St. John's University in India, but a very different type of St. John's University for medical doctors. So we have a little bit of an alumni group of people from there that we call the Johnites, and now I will officially be a Johnite as well, but a different type. So it's nice to meet you all.
Yeah, her father was a medical doctor who passed away just about a month ago.
Yeah, just a couple months ago.
So, Andrew White. He also can't get away from St. John's.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Andrew. Not from New York, originally from Ohio. Did my master's at St. John's in international communication. I work in academia. Actually, I work at a school, a trade school in New York, actually down the hill from St. John's, which is great for my commute. And I'm really, really happy to be here. I have, yeah.
Perfect. Shweta, tell us about yourself.
So it's a little bit of too many things, and like to my parents it seems like I can not make up my mind, but to me it makes perfect sense. So I'm going to leave it up to you to figure what you can make of my career. I did my master's in genetic medicine from the University of Sheffield in the UK, and that was my first master's, before which I did my bachelor's in life sciences and biochemistry. I did a double honors. After that, I worked as a research scientist for a little while. And then I had to move back to India from the UK. And after I moved back to India, this was in 2005, there was a huge disparity in the kind of in the way that research was conducted in both the countries. And I was really young and naive, and I got disillusioned. And I was like, okay, no, I'm not going to do research here because things are, you know how it is. And so I decided to do my MBA. So I worked in research, then I became a medical editor for a little while. And then I did my MBA, and I did my MBA in marketing. So after that, I got into planning, marketing, and branding campaigns for healthcare and for pharmaceutical companies. I launched a couple of brand companies in India. I've worked with GlaxoSmithKline, if anyone's familiar with GSK. And so I did that for a few years, and then I got disillusioned with the pharma industry. Again, I was young, naive, and thought the world should be an ideal place. And yeah, and I said, okay, so if I have to do branding and marketing, I'm not going to, I'm not going to deceive people for their health. It's okay if I have to deceive them for other reasons. And that's how I got into advertising and branding for other companies. And then I worked as a branding and marketing professional and a business consultant for about 10 years or so. And then I realized that I don't want to do this anymore. If I have an insight in people and I really want to make a difference, why am I wasting that on conning them with marketing? I might as well do psychology. Also, my mother is a counselor, so that I kind of grew up reading her books. So I decided to do a master's in psychology, specifically in counseling. And that's how I ended up at St. John's, because I started with a master's in counseling. And I did all the foundational courses in counseling. And I was doing it from India because I couldn't come to the US because of COVID. And just like 2 days when I was supposed to come here for spring semester, I got an email from the university saying that all my courses went online, and that violated my visa rules. So I couldn't fly. And this was exactly 2 days before I was supposed to fly. And so one of my professors said, hey, you've done branding before and you've done marketing and communications. Why don't you take this course? And that happened to be Professor Basilio's course in ICM. So just on a whim, because I wanted to come and my flight was in 2 days, I ended up taking that course. And I was like, you know what? It can't be too bad because it sounds really interesting. And I came here and I did that course, and I really loved the program, and I was so interested, and it linked up with so many things that I'd done in the past, and it resonated with me on a very personal sort of moral level. And when Professor Basilio and I started talking and he told me about the PhD program, I'm like, oh my God, my family is going to kill me because this is like the 10th time that I'm changing my professions, but I'm so certain I want to do this. And that's how I landed in the PhD program. So yeah, that's pretty much my story.
And then very soon to get married.
I'm very soon to get married. Yes, that too.
Arturo, you want to share us with us? Tell us your story.
Sure. Hi, everyone. So my name is Arturo Pagan. I'm a native New Yorker, born and bred in Brooklyn. Studied at the University of Rochester, did political science, mostly focusing on game theory. After I graduated, I had an opportunity because the Rochester City School District had an opening for Black and Latino teachers to help in the school system, which was in dire straits at the moment. So they partnered with the University of Rochester. They offered a free master's program in secondary education. So I said, hey, why not? So I taught global studies and AP history at the high school level, and I was there for a few years. And then I decided I couldn't take the winters in Rochester anymore, so I moved to Washington. And there I did my master's in international affairs at GW, focusing on international environmental policy and some other beautiful coursework that I did. And then after that, I moved to Rome. And in Rome, I started working for the International Fund for Agricultural Development, one of the 3 food-based agencies that's based in Rome. And that launched my career in human resources, believe it or not, because I was able to use a lot of what I had learned in my graduate program as well as my education program. And I started working on orientation programs for new staff. Once I was there, my director said, oh, you know, you have a good skill. Why don't you come and write policy with me? So I crossed over into HR. I never thought I had wanted to go into human resources. I'm still thinking about it now, 20 years later. So that's where I am. So then I came back to New York and I'm working at the UN Population Fund. So it's the Sexual and Reproductive Health Agency of the United Nations. We have a very sensitive mandate in many countries, including the US. Texas, that's all I have to say. And so there is a lot of, you know, critical communication that has to happen, and it has to be careful communication as well, because obviously we want to make sure that we work and we enroll you know, all of our member states in what we do, because, you know, we are saving lives and we are helping women have, you know, successful careers and also contribute back to their communities. And just trying to get people to realize the value in that, but also in providing safe spaces, particularly in countries that have, you know, high incidence of gender-based violence and so on. So there's a lot of work that we do in that area, and communication is just absolutely critical. And it's shifting, you know, as you know, with social media and a lot of the media communication sort of mechanisms that we have now, we're even seeing, you know, where we have cases of sexual exploitation and sexual harassment. You know, a lot of these cases go into media before the organization even is aware of them, right? So then you have to play catch up. So, you know, one of the challenges that we have as an organization is, okay, so how can we deal with these problems? How do we, you know, prepare our communication so that we maintain, you know, the ability to work in a lot of these countries? And how do we also sort of, you know, combat a lot of these problems that are happening? So that's why this program is fascinating, because, you know, it's like social justice and what I'm doing is a part of what I want to continue doing, but I you know, I felt that I needed more, you know, and communication is exciting, but I've been stuck in HR for a while, so it's like I needed a good change, and this is a great opportunity. So I look forward to learning from all of you. Really, I haven't been a student in over 20 years, so that's also, you know, part of what I'm readjusting to now. So Professor Montero, when you were talking about being scared, being uncertain, and all of that, and I'm thinking, oh my God, what did I sign myself up for? But at the same time, I'm really excited and I'm looking forward to it.
Thank you, Arturo. Amy?
Well, hard to follow you all with some amazing, I guess, careers and just history. It was really nice listening to most of you already. So mine's a little, well, a little similar to some of you. It's very similar to Farah, where St. John's just kind of keeps bringing me back. Every time I leave, I think that I leave for good. I moved to Australia at some point, and then my boss now called me and said, would you like to come back? And I came back. So education-wise, for undergrad, I studied psychology and sociology. And then I had ended up graduating a bit early, unsure kind of which way I wanted to go with that, whether I wanted to go into coaching or the criminology route. So I did a master's in criminology. I kind of finished that up and then was going back and forth between coaching and playing overseas. And then when I made the final decision to kind of come back and focus on my career, I also went back to school just to getting to the classroom again, because I'm always think it's important, as I think everyone here, to just continue to learn, and learn from more so those around you, not always from a textbook, which I really valued. So I did my second master's in sports management, and then kind of stumbled upon this program as I was looking up all the kind of programs that we offer, and it was new when I guess this summer it popped up on the website, but I'm basically always on the website doing just like researching for recruits and stuff and seeing what programs we have, what new programs. So when this one really caught my eye, I obviously had to reach out and find out more about it. So I'm excited to be here.
Thank you very much, Amy. Gohar? You there, Gohar? Okay. Victoria, tell us your story.
Hi everyone, my name is Victoria O'Keefe. I was born and raised on Long Island. I'm a first generation college student, so I did my undergrad work in criminal justice with minor in international relations and social justice. I graduated early as well, just like Amy, a year early, and it was unexpected just because of the advisement I was having. I was like, what do I do next? And just at that time, the Master's in Global Development and Social Justice program had started. So I did that on the Rome campus with Professor Montero and an incredible, staff faculty over there. And it was such an incredible learning experience. I think one of the examples I like to kind of pluck out and offer is that I was in the program when the conflict in Syria was taking place, first starting off, and one of my classmates was a Filipino Army chaplain from the US who was stationed in Egypt. And so when we're talking about what's happening, he was actually able to say, I'm looking out my window right now, we're seeing this many refugees come in on foot. So the type of learning I had just from my classmates being from all over the world, like Honduras, Georgia, Ghana, and I think there was a limit too to how many Americans could be in the program. Professor, I'm not sure on that, but just the type of learning was so phenomenal. After that, I was doing GA work. I was a grad assistant in campus ministry while I was getting that degree. And I was amazed actually at what the ministers, their day-to-day looked like. Whenever somebody came in for anything, if it was a student who wanted to celebrate a joy or a challenge, a faculty member looking for a piece of chalk, whatever it was, they stopped what they were doing and their full attention was with the person before them. And I thought it was just so cool to be completely present to people, but also in part of my work, I was doing service immersion, bringing students to service opportunities, doing justice programming and heritage programming on campus with DEI efforts. So there was kind of this thread of justice. I continued with another master's in theology, liberation theologies, feminist theologies, pastoral counseling were all things that really helped me kind of connect with the students and help me in that profession. But I saw the ministries changing a lot, and just the nature of higher education, the role I'm in now. So I'm kind of preparing for a shift and a change sometime in the future. I was kind of challenged by Professor Montero, who's been sort of a mentor to me to think ahead and to plan ahead. He told me about the program, but I wasn't entirely sold on it just because I didn't want to just be a degree collector. I really wanted to have that intention as to what I was going to do next, especially if I was going for a terminal degree. But when I was looking at the program and then thinking back to during the pandemic, I saw there was a lot of lack of communication, a lot of lack of transparency, at least in what I was experiencing in my own workplace, and just with the uncertainty that was going on in the world. But I think the lack of interdisciplinary communication happening and just making connections and dots for at least me to kind of process things and get along with, I said, you know what? It would be really interesting for me to kind of hone those technical skills, which I love, talking about the technical skill set of being a researcher and not necessarily finding solutions, but understanding deeper. All that speaks so much to what I'm looking for right now in this moment. So let's hope it kind of feeds me along this way in this program for however long it takes. But yeah, I'm really excited to be here with all of you.
Thank you so much, Victoria. Gohar, is your connectivity is okay? Can't hear you. Anyway, we'll have more opportunities to meet you, Gohar. Gohar is our future president of Armenia. She's getting ready for that. So very involved in Armenian politics. She has been Nagorno-Karabakh incident. She's very much into that as well. So she's saying hi to everyone. Yeah. So, okay. Now, please make note of 3 dates for this semester for our research colloquium. September 27th, it's a Monday. October 21st, it is a Thursday. And November 18th is a Thursday as well. And we'll meet at 5 o'clock. Most probably, we would love to see if we can meet in person. The more, in person we are, but we'll see how this Delta variant is taking care of our lives and what is going to happen. So at the moment, we're keeping it online. And so we'll see where we go with that.
Dr. Montero, sorry, sir. What was the date in October?
October is 21st.
Okay.
And we'll meet at 5 o'clock. So it'll be about 5 to 6 just to begin with. And then we are free to go for classes at 7 p.m. afterwards. And more information will come about that research colloquium. And I just want to you save the dates. Anyone, any questions, clarifications, anything? Okay. Please, my last request to you, come and meet with me. I want to kind of give you direction about your program so that you have some kind of peace of mind where you'll be going and how the mapping of it, how it will work out. Okay. So we can do via WebEx without, physically we may not be able to do it, but I'm on campus. If anybody is on campus, Victoria, Amy, just come on over. Whoever comes to my office, there'll be chocolates always, so you can have chocolates there. So a wonderful evening, everyone. I'm glad to see that you survived the storm of September 1st. I know that Arturo got stuck in the subway going home.
3 hours. It was lovely.
Yeah. So thank you, Professor Jusak, as well, for joining us and being part of this team. Okay, so stay safe and buy wonderful dress, Shweta. So, okay, see you then.
Okay. Thank you, everyone. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.
Lovely to meet everyone. Bye-bye.
Take care.